Hi, my name is Stephen McGee and I'm the author of Health Forensics. And we're here to talk about a subject of health forensics, and that is Schumann resonances. And as part of the research for that book, I developed this CD. It's also available as an MP3, and it's a soundtrack that has the fundamental 7.83 Hz Schumann resonance on it and harmonics of that resonance, and harmonics are just higher multiples of that 7.83 Hz frequency. And I have a little CD player here with the CD inside of it, and we're going to play the tracks and look at the waveforms that come out of the headphone connection. And I'm going to play the first track, and it takes a few seconds to come onto the oscilloscope, and there we have the first track. So I'm going to go on to the next track. And this is an important concept with Schumann resonances, is that it's not a sound wave, it's an electromagnetic wave, and that's what we're looking at with the oscilloscope. So we're moving on to track 3, and when you wear electrical headphones, you're actually applying electromagnetic waves to your brain, and not many people realize that. So we're now moving on to track 4, and if you apply electromagnetic waves to your brain, well, some of those waves probably are going to have some favorable outcomes, and some of them are probably going to have some negative outcomes. So we're going to move on to track 5. So some of those negative outcomes can show up as headaches and weird thinking and just strange mental behavior. So moving on to track 6. But some of the healthy outcomes of Schumann resonances are you may get increased energy, which I have actually seen during this research. So moving on to track 7. And for me, that increased energy was short-lived. It didn't last very long, and it wasn't long before I was back down to my normal energy levels. So there's something about these Schumann resonances that you actually appear to get used to them and tolerate them, and then everything goes back to normal. That was my finding. So moving on to track 8. So you can see track 8 is a pure sine wave. So that's the pure fundamental 7.83 Hz frequency that is typically called the Schumann resonance. So we're going to move on to the next set of waveforms, and all the waveforms from track 8 onwards are pure sine waves. They're just higher multiples of the frequency. So that's track 9. We're going to move on to track 10. And this is very much an emerging field of health research, and I urge people to be careful with headphones and audio systems because they can affect your mental functioning. So that's track 10. Let's go to track 11. And the type of music that you play can also affect your mental functioning, particularly when you're wearing headphones, and speakers can also affect you if you sit too close to them. Not many people realize that there's electromagnetic waves coming out of the speaker systems, and speakers have very large magnets in them, so just the fact that they have a very large magnet means you shouldn't sit near to them. So that's track 11, going to track 12. And you can see as we go higher up in these waveforms that the concentration of the waveforms is much denser. So it's track 12, so now on to track 13. But one application I have actually found with Schumann resonances and frequencies in general is that they seem to have an application if you're inside a Faraday cage. If you're outside of a Faraday cage, I've not really seen any benefits, but I did actually grow a plant inside a Faraday cage, and it had a radiation transmitter inside that Faraday cage, and the plant grew very well. So it is rumoured that the International Space Station has a Schumann resonator on it. So that was track 13. Let's go to track 14. So yeah, so certainly the space industry appears to believe that if you're inside a Faraday cage, that you probably need to have some kind of radiation source in there mimicking these Schumann resonances. So that's track 14. Let's have a look at the final track, track 15. These are all 3 minutes long, these tracks. I've researched the CD through its entirety. I used to, when I was researching this field, I would play the CD 2 or 3 times a day through an MP3 player and a set of headphones. And I stopped doing it after about a month because I really wasn't seeing any improvement in health, and certainly any health benefits that I saw were initial and did not last. I did see some headaches, so that's something to be aware of, is that, you know, headphones can give you headaches from these electromagnetic waves. So that's the final track. So that's Schumann Resonances for you. This CD is available on Amazon.com, as is the MP3 soundtrack as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I wish you the very best of health. Thank you.